Hey, hi everyone. Good evening. And we have six. How many folks are there? Six. Cool. So let's start the session. And let me share my screen once it's visible. The Android Studio is visible, right? Hello. Cool. So just Sham has raised the hand. So you have any question or
No, my bad. I instead of thumbs up, I by mistake raised
okay?
my hands.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Fine. So yesterday we had seen this file storage, and we had seen what is internal, external cache, and file storage, as well as how to use the media store APIs to read the media. In our case, we wanted a list of the videos that is available on the device using this media store API and the scope storage. So today we are going to have a look at the networking. So what we are going to do is we are going to see the networking. Okay, so again, networking is so first of all, what is a networking? So networking is almost every applications will have to somehow connect with the internet, right? To their own server, or by to connect with a third party server, that is, let's say, Firebase or whatever. So the connection they make, they have to make a connection with the internet. So this things is known as the networking. So for the networking, if we just go very raw, okay, if we just go at the very uh, raw level, in the Java we have this class called HTTP URL connection java.net. What it does, it provides us unnecessary resources to make a network request to our a server. You can specify your methods and content lengths and all those things you can specify it. This is the at the most basic level HTTP URL connection. But if you use these things to make a network request, okay, nowadays almost every application make the network request, and nobody has the time to specify all these things manually: content size, content length, type, and all those things, right? So so usually people, if you are people do not prefer directly using these classes, because it is at the most basic level. Rather, what prefer is they prefer some libraries that may internally use the HTTP URL connection, but they allows you to simplify your code and avoid the boilerplate code. So people usually tends to use this sort of a libraries. So in Android, we have multiple libraries that provides a networking capability. So one being the OkHttp, or let me call it Retrofit, is one library. Woli is another library. Ktor is a networking library. So uh, these are the sort of the these are just a few libraries that you can use to make a network request to your server. Okay, so amongst all of these things, the thing, these are the three pretty popular. So the Woli one was the it was developed by the Google, and it was in use in around 2020 and 2019 and those period. But then nowadays almost all modern applications use something called a retrofit. Okay, they use this library. Retrofit is a pretty standard library for the networking in Android. Android in networking is simply called the retrofit. This much, this the popularity of this library is. So this is about the retrofit, and the third is a ktor. So ktor is those who are into the kotlin space or kmm space, they knows ktor can act as a server as well as a client as well, right? So this ktor I'm talking about is the client library. So it allows you to make the networking from the Android as well. So just to know that you can use a ktor to make the network request from the Android side as well. So that is possible. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a look at something called a retrofit. Retrofit, and let me just show you the GitHub. So Okay, so this library is built by the Square. So Square is a very popular name in the Android terms. The Square created the OkHttp, Square created the OkIO, Square created the Retrofit, and lot of other things. Okay, so this library is created by the Square, and Square is a prominent name in the Android development. So this OkHttp library is, you can say, a type-safe HTTP client for Android and a JVM. So it's not just for the Android, it is for the JVM as well. If you are building pure Java or Kotlin projects, you can use a Retrofit as well. So this library was is built on top of something called a OkHttp. Uh, so again, OkHttp is a again HTTP library, but if you use a OkHttp library, then what it does is it allows you to create a network request, something like this. You can create a request, and then you can call the response, and then you can do these things. So Retrofit takes this approach even further, and it allows you to create your network request based on the annotations. So Retrofit internally use the OkHttp. Again, it is from the Square. So, but the things is, it even simplifies the networking, that and it allows you to automatically write the code that you would have to write it manually if you are using a OkHttp. So in that sense, Retrofit is a better alternative to compared to the OkHttp, although it is built on top of the OkHttp. And if you wish, you can directly use OkHttp on in Android as well. That is fine. Cool. There is something mentioned here called a Grail VM as well. And anyone has any idea what this Grail VM is? We can read JVM, Android, and a Grail VM. So it's again outside of the scope of the session, but let me put some light. So the Graal VM is a project by the Oracle. What it does, it allows you the JVM or Java programs are known to be uh, yes, Java program needs to run on a JVM, right? It cannot directly run on the natively on the device, whether it's a Linux or Mac or Windows. It cannot run natively. It needs a Java virtual machine to run it. So the Graal VM does is Graal virtual machine. So what it does, it takes the code, and then it converts to the natively executable file. So now your executables, you don't even need to create a jar, and it will be faster in execution because it will be a native image. So this is a project by the Oracle. If you want to learn more, I'll just share these things, and you can just have a look. So this is the things about the Grail VM.
Rafiq,
Okay.
is it
Yes,
for
please.
mobile app development or something else like
uh
normal
no, it
code?
is for the JVM. It is just for the
Okay, okay.
JVM. So it's not about the mobile, because in a mobile anyway, you don't use a native, right? In mobile we have only two options, iOS and Android.
Yes,
So in Android, JVM works. In iOS, JVM cannot work, right? So there is no way. So this is mainly for the, let's say, if you are building a Spring Boot applications, okay? So if you deploy your Spring Boot application as a jar file, it would take some time to load. But if you convert it into the Graal image, that Spring Boot jar into the Graal image, then your startup would be faster because it would be converted to the native image that each platform can run, Linux, Mac, or Windows. Okay, so this is for the Java. In Kotlin, we have this Kotlin native. You already knows probably these things, Kotlin native, right? Let me share it as well. These are the actually good things and good progress we are making. Okay, cool. So our focus is a retrofit. Cool. So let's stick to it for now. So we are going to use a retrofit library. So to use a retrofit library, again, this is an introduction to retrofit. So let's directly see how to set up and make the network request. So to create a retrofit, what you need to do is you need to use this library called a retrofit. This com.squareup.retrofit2. Again, this is the second version, and you need to use this retrofit library. Okay, this is a converter. So converter is, I'll come later on this part, but for the retrofit, you just need this library called retrofit2. So you need to use this library, and then you need to do what? You need to yes, is the implementation. So how retrofit works is for again, just like room, in a room we were just writing the uh, things that we want, right, using the annotations, and room was generating the code for us using the annotations, this one. So same goes for the retrofit. You just need to tell the retrofit using the annotations what is the method, what is the URL, and then how you want to retrieve this data, okay, or how you want to post the data, and retrofit will generate the code for you. So to make a network request, we need some sort of a URL, right? So let's do one thing. There are a lot of sites that allows you to test out your request. So the one site is called a JSON placeholder. Okay, this one. So what we need to do is it allows us to test out our scripts or networking script. So let's say, for example, if we hit this endpoint, this post one, okay. So what it does is it responds us with a JSON values of the post, right? It responds us with the JSON values of the post. So this is the URL. Let's say we want to hit this URL. Let me see the photos things. Yes, just give me a sec. Okay, let's go with this thing. So what we want is we want this post, we want to retrieve this data from this network, right? This is the server. So what we will do is we will create an interface for the same. So let's say inside the networking package, I'll create an interface where it is, and let's call it my, or let's call it a API interface. API interface. This is something we did. Now what we need to do is we need to define our function. So let's say function name is this is about getting the post. So let's say get post. This is something we want to do. Now which HTTP method we want to use it on this function. What we need to do is we need to define our HTTP method. So everyone is familiar with the HTTP methods, right? Get, post, put, page, and delete, those things. If yes, I'll just skip them. Okay, if you don't know anything, just let me know. So what we want to do is the simple rule is if you want to retrieve the data, the method will always be a get method because you want to get something from the server. So to what we need to do is we need to annotate these functions with the get annotation. Okay, and then you need to pass your URL. So let's say our URL is this one. So let's just pass it something like this. We want to retrieve this post and we want to pass this URL. In a response, what you will get in a response, we will get a list of the post, right? It's a list of the post. So let's create our model around that, and let's call it a post. Let's create a data class. So what we want to do is these are the properties of the post class, right? So let's create a model around it. So let's say, well, post user ID would be, let's say, long or integer. Integer is fine, right? And then what else? We need a ID. So we have defined user ID. Then we need to define an ID. So let's call it a long. So, and the third thing is a title. So title is a string. And then there is something called a body. So let's say, well, body is type of the string. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to retrieve the list of the post, as you can see, and I believe everyone is familiar with the JSON structure, right? So we want to retrieve a list of the post from this server. So we will tell the retrofit that where it is. Yep, here we want to retrieve the list of the post. Okay, something like this. And retrofit has a inbuilt support for the Kotlin core routine. So let's mark this function as a suspend function. I'll also show you what happens if you don't mark it as a suspend. Okay, but let's go for the simple thing now. Let's mark this function as a suspending function. So retrofit should execute these things on the background dispatches. Cool. We created these things. So let's create a repository and a view model, networking a repository quickly, create a class, at the rate inject. What's happened? Uh, am I missing something? Oh, we don't have hilt, it seems. Yep, we are missing hilt. So my bad. Let me just grab the hilt and a KSV into these things. And where is the hilt dependency? Yep, this one, hilt navigation. We don't need it, but fine. Anyways, uh, let's just grab the hilt. Oh, sorry. Thing like this. Cool. So we should be able to inject these things at the rate inject. Cool. So what we will do is we will accept the API interface as a dependency. So let's say private well API interface. So now what we will do is we'll write the same function here. Let's say suspend on get post. So what it will does is it these functions will simply return the API interface dot a get post. It will just simply return these things. Let me type it. Okay, it written a list of the post. So this is something we can do. And now let's create a view model as well. So let me just go. Might feel boring because it's a repetitive step, right? But I have to do it. Networking view model. And let's accept the repo as a dependency here according to MVM architecture. So private well networking repo. Cool. So here we'll write the code as well. But in the networking repo, as you can see, we are expecting the API interface and we are using a hilt for the DI, right? So we need to tell hilt how to create this API interface. So let's define our module. So let's call it uh, net networking module. Okay, it's a module and we want to install it into a singleton component, that is application level component. Cool. So we'll create a function. So what we need to do is we need to provide API interface. Okay, and let's accept the retrofit as a dependency. So we can write something like retrofit dot create and then we can pass our class interface name. So API interface dot class dot java. Okay, this is something we need to do it. Let's annotate these functions with the red provides as well as a singleton. Okay, this is fine. But now we need to call these functions called a create from the retrofit class to create the actual implementation for this interface. Okay, we need to do it. But now what is happening is we are expecting retrofit as a dependency for this function, right? Or as a parameter for this function. Say retrofit, we need to tell Hilt how to provide this retrofit itself. So let's create a functions for them. And let's say fun provide retrofit. For this time, we will go with the simplest things at the rate provides and at the rate singleton. Probably, I think I should create a live templates for these things, right? Mm, cool. So we will write, let's say, well, retrofit equal to retrofit dot builder. Retrofit does use the builder pattern. And then what we need to do is you need to call the build method and this will return you, or let me just directly return from this one, return these things. And then this the Hilt will provide this retrofit and we need to provide these things, right? So there are errors in this program, but I'll show you at the runtime. Cool. So let's do something like this. And let's from the view model, let's create a function. Let's say fun get post. This is something we want to do it. We want to get a post. Let's call view model scope or a launch. And then let's call the networking repo dot get post. These are the list of the post. And let's just log them out. So post dot for each, we want to log them out and it would be it dot we want to post the ID. Okay, what we want to do is we are printing the ID of the each post to the console. This is the simplest things we want to do it. Let's grab this VM and let's say networking view model equal to hilt view model, and let's what it says. Found view model. Oh, module, man. I'm sorry. Networking view model. This one, yes. So let's have a button. Upon click, there are a lot of issues in this code, but we'll see them one by one. So let's say uh, get posts. Okay, and when we click on this button, what we want to do is we want to call the networking view model dot get post. This is the simplest function we want to do. This function should make a network request. It should retrieve the response from these things, and then it should do what? It should print them out in the log statement, right? It should print them out in the log. That is basically what we are doing here. So let's run and let's see if it works. Mm, let's run these things, launching on the device, and it's crashing, right? So let's see what made this crash. So if we try and figure out, it says that cannot create an instance of the class networking view model. View model, why these things is giving me an issue? Private well networking. Yep. Inject constructor, API interface. Mm, no such method exception. Mm, okay. Can anyone tell me what could went wrong? Why we are not able to create these things? Anyone? We have annotated hilt view model. This one we did, and we are expecting something like this. So why we are not hilt is not able to create it? Any guess? These are the files here. These are the files here. And if you want them parallelly, I can make it parallelly. Let's say split to right. And this is our view model. What could be wrong? What could went wrong here? Am I audible? I see a very nice silence.
Looks like this 22 number line is not working.
Which one? 22. This
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It's not
Okay.
creating.
Yep. So why? Why it's not creating the view model?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yep. Anyone can recognize the problem here? I can give you a hint. Okay, so the problem is on the left side part. See the left side, and if you can figure out anything. The left side of the screen, not the right and left.
Activity is not annotated with
Entry point.
entry points.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. The activity is not annotated. And another things is as well. Activity, yep, this is a good case. Activity is not annotated. Another things is there as well. Let's say, let's call it something like Android entry point, and let's run it. It's still crashing. So I told you, right? Another things is there. What could be the thing?
Do we need to create that view model instance here in main activity?
No,
By
this
the
should be
model?
sufficient.
Okay.
View
Okay,
model
cool.
also should be annotated with hilt view model, or it's not required.
Yep, it is there.
Okay.
Hilt view model is
Okay.
there.
Okay.
The things, let's not stress it more because cool. So the things is see, the first things, if we recall the hilt working, what hilt does is hilt start building the dependency graph with your applications. Is there any way we are telling the hilt from where to start building the dependency graph? No, right? We need to go and tell the hilt, this is where you need to start building your dependency graph. So let's create a class called my application. Extend the application class and let's call this as a hilt Android app. This is the things we were missing. We were not telling the hilt from where to start building the dependency graph. Right, cool. So let's say, let's give it the name to our application, this one. It should run now. Let's go and check it out. Awesome. So application is crashing. So let's say, is this something hilt related issue or anything else? Okay, so it is something now, it is different, right? So hilt is resolved. So basically this is what we were missing in the hilt. We need to tell hilt that this is the location where you need to start building your dependency graph. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for your inputs. And the things is the retrofit. Now retrofit is giving us an error. It says the base URL is required. So what is the base URL? So if you see the multiple URLs, let's say this is our one of our URL and this is our another URL. Okay, try and compare this URL. So what you will get to know is these things is the same, right? Only this endpoint is changing, the post endpoint and photo endpoints. So the URL that is common across your web service is known as a base URL. This is the base thing, right? So this is known as a base URL. So retrofit is designed in such a way, and it's ideal thing as well, that you need to provide your base URL and retrofit can, and then in the your interface method, you just need to provide your endpoints. So while at the runtime, retrofit will construct the actual URL based on the base URL as well as your endpoint. So what you need to do is you need to provide your base URL. So let's call the base URL method and let's tell the retrofit that this is our base URL. Something like this. Okay. And in the interface, what we need to do is we just need to provide our endpoint. So retrofit will automatically create this URL for this method. Okay, let's run and let's see what happens. We'll see the things one by one, so it would be interesting. Cool. Okay, now retrofit is not complaining. All good. Let me click on these things. Up again, crash. So this is, see, it's different. So what it says that unable to create a converter for these things. Unable to create a converter for these things. What does it mean? Retrofit is, let's say retrofit is making the network request to this class. Let me tell you one thing. Let me verify that things for you. I'll just add a few lines of code called an interceptor. If you don't understand, don't worry, I'll explain this later. But let me just get that for you. So we can confirm that this is happening. I'll explain this code, so don't worry. This one. And let's use the HTTP client as well. Let's grab them. I'll explain all of this code. Cool. So this is working, and let me add depend. Okay, cool. Fine. Let's run it. That is fine for now. So okay, what is happening is, let me click on these things and let's see what happens. Cool. So let's say whether anything was made or not. Okay, any request was made or not. So you can see no request was made, right? So the code that I just added will show you if any request was made or not. Or another things you can do is you can go to the view tool window and there is something called app inspection. We use for the DB, right? Room DB. So in the app inspection, there is something called, let me run it. So in the app inspection, there is something called a network inspector. So it is a very nice addition to the Android Studio, and it shows if there is any network request was made by your applications or not. If yes, then what was the response? What is the request? Those things. So let me create to call this. So you can see there is no network request, right? And this is crashing. The crash is about the what is this? Let me tell you. Yes, it's about the converter. So what the converter says, retrofit says that, okay, sorry. Retrofit basically says that I don't know how, whatever the response I will get from these things, I don't know how to convert it to the list of the post. Okay. So basically what we are doing is in the response, we will get a JSON, right? Something like this. This one, you will get a JSON response. So we, this is JSON, this is a Kotlin data class, and this is a list from the Kotlin collection. So retrofit says that I don't know how to convert whatever the response I will get into something like this. I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. So what we need to do here, here comes the concept of the JSON serialization and deserialization. Okay. So what does it mean? We need some sort of a library or some sort of a solution that can convert this JSON data into our Kotlin model class. Okay, we need another library that can convert these things into this data class. You can do it manually by using either call or response. That is something I'll explain later. Call or a response coming from retrofit, but that is something we are not using because I have kept it for the next topic. Cool. So retrofit is saying that I don't know whatever the response I get into these things. So here comes the concept of the JSON serialization and deserialization. So we need a library for this. Historically, people were used to use this library called a JSON. So it is a Google library specifically built for the Java for the JSON deserialization and serialization. So what it says, JSON serialization means converting your data model into JSON, and deserialization means converting your data model, sorry, converting your JSON value into your data model. Okay, this is the concept. So people, this is a very popular, pretty popular library. As you can see, it has a 22K stars. Okay, JSON is a library coming from the Google. But the things is, JSON was specifically created for Java, so it lacks a few of the Kotlin concepts, like a Kotlin default value, right? In a Kotlin, we have this default value things. So JSON lacks support for this, as well as JSON is something in sort, we can say maintenance mode, because there is no new feature addition. Okay, you can see JSON is currently in a maintenance mode. So only existing bugs will be fixed, but no new features will arrive on this library. So what we are going to do is, again, we are going to Square for help. So Square has built another awesome library for the JSON serialization, deserialization called a Moshi. Okay, so we had this JSON. It's again very pretty popular library, but the Moshi started to gaining the traction. You can say it has a 10K stars as well. So Moshi is again JSON serialization library for the Kotlin and Java. So it has a very nice understanding of the Kotlin, and it provides almost all Kotlin supports. Okay, Kotlin language level support. So we are going to use the Moshi as a library, which will convert our JSON data, this one, into our model class. So we are going to use a Moshi for that. Let me just go and grab the dependency. So do we have a Moshi? Yes, we have a code gen as well. I'll tell you what the code gen is. Let me just so what you need to do is you need to use this library called as com.squareup.moshi and the Moshi. Now coming to the code gen. So anyone has idea what is the reflection in a Java or JVM? Any idea what is the reflection? I believe some of you may have heard about the reflection, right? No? As the name suggests, is it too strange for you to listen this a reflection thing, or people just don't want to speak it out?
During serialization and deserialization, internally JSON library uses reflection, na?
Yep,
If I'm
but
not
what is
if,
reflection? That is my question.
like temporary objects been created, na?
Temporary.
Objects like class object instance is like created when we are trying to
Okay.
serialize and deserialize.
Okay. So can you create a temporary objects without reflection? Reflection is an alternative to find is instance of a class. So okay, cool. So let me tell you the things. Yep, thanks for providing input. So reflection is what? In the JVM, reflection is a mysterious concept, and I think some of you may have not even heard about it. So why mysterious? Because what it does, it is allows you to inspect and even modify your classes at the runtime. Runtime means exactly when it is running on the JVM, not at the compile time. Compile time, anybody can do anything, right? But what reflection does is it allows you to inspect and modify your classes at a compile time. So this is why if you see the definition of the reflection, let me tell you one thing. It's a very nice concept, or you can say, yeah, it is inside the java.language.reflect. So what it does is it at the low level, very low level, it allows you to inspect the classes, that what is the type of this class, what are the properties this class has, what are the property names, and how can you, what is the type of each property, all these things that it allows you to inspect and modify at the runtime. Okay, so this is what reflection is meant for in the JVM world. Okay, you can see Java program to inspect or examine upon itself and manipulate the internal properties of the program. So reflection allows you to do these things, but the issue with the reflection is, and by the way, okay, this is what reflection does. So if you use a JSON, what it will do, let's say if you use a JSON, so what it can do is JSON can whatever it you need to add this serialized name and those annotations, right? If you are using a JSON. So what it does is at the runtime, when your applications runs, what it can do is it can go and figure out what is the type of this class, what is the properties, what is these things, and it can construct a code. It can construct a code itself that will map this JSON value. It can then there are a lot of things. There are JSON parsers and response and all those things. So the parsers will parse the response, and then using the reflection, JSON will get to know that okay, this class has a four properties. The first is integer, this is second, long, this is string and string. So JSON will map this data accordingly based on the result of the JSON parsers. So this is what usually reflections is useful for. Uh, and a lot of libraries make use of the reflection under the hood. But the issue with the reflection is, or I could say more sort of is a limitation. Limitations of the reflection is uh, it takes it takes a time, right, to modify these things. So what it can does, it can increase your compilation time as well. So now there is a in if you use a JSON, there is a reflection. The Moshi use something called a Kotlin CodeGen. Kotlin CodeGen. Okay, Moshi does support Java-based reflection, but it is unsupported on the Kotlin classes. If you use a Moshi with the Java, it can use the Java reflection. So if you use a Kotlin classes, it uses something called a Kotlin CodeGen. So what it does is based on this based on the annotations that you provides to these classes, based on the annotations, Moshi will generate the code suitable for this annotation. So it does not need to use a reflection. So it is a bit faster. Okay, so that is what we are doing. It's again annotation processor library. So we are passing it to the KSP. So this is what the CodeGen does. It will take the annotations and generate the code for that classes to map the JSON data to your Kotlin classes. Cool. So what we need to do is we need to tell the Moshi that, hey, Moshi, generate this, generate a adapter for this class. So we need to call this generate, sorry, we need to use these annotations called a JSON class. And we need to tell that Moshi needs to generate an adapter. Adapter means what? Adapter is a code. Again, adapter is a design pattern, right? That bridge two incompatible things. Some of you may have seen my today's LinkedIn post, so they will have more idea. So adapter is basically a design pattern that bridge two incompatible things that we have in recycler views and those things. So you can see these two are incompatible things, right? So this will generate a code, Kotlin or Java, that will read value from this JSON, and then it will assign proper value to this data class properties. So that is what we are telling the Moshi here. Generate a code for yourself, an adapter that can assign these values to our this class. So this is how basically Moshi works. Cool. We have told the Moshi, but now we need to tell the retrofit that, hey, I have a Moshi that will do these things for me. We can say the retrofit, you don't understand what this means, we are fine. But we have a library that can understand what the response is, and it can generate a value for us. So we need to go and tell this to retrofit. So these things is known as a converters. So we need to use a add converter factory. Okay. So again, it uses a factory pattern. So we need to use a Moshi converter factory dot create. So these functions, Moshi converter factory dot create will create a new factory that retrofit can accept. Here it needs to be a converter factory. Okay, and Moshi will tell the retrofit that yes, I am the one who is able to convert the response into a data classes. So retrofit will be like, okay, now I'll pass this data to you. You generate your adapter and do whatever you want to do. Cool. So this is how these things is happening. Let's run and let's see what happens. Yes, Deepika, I'll get back to you one sec. Let's click on these things. Oh, it's crashing. Let's see what it is. Awesome. So this is very nice, very beautiful, very beautiful error for Android developers, because this is going to be happen in everyone's life where you really forgot to provide the internet permission. We don't have any internet permission, right? We haven't declared it in the manifest file. So our applications won't be able to connect with the internet. So we need to declare it inside the manifest. Let's run and let's see what happens. Cool, awesome. You can see we are printing all the lines, right? We are printing all the lines starting from the 1 to 100. So that means we are able to successfully make a network request to this server, and we are retrieving all this data. We are just printing the ID, but we are retrieving all the data, and the mapping is successful as well. Okay. Yes, Deepika, please.
Yeah, can we use parcelize on the annotate instead of where we used it, Moshi, right? JSON class. So what if we
No,
use parcelize?
even if you use a parcelize, that means Moshi won't be able to recognize it, right? If you use a parcelize, that means you are making this class for serialization and deserialization. But explicitly, Moshi won't be able to recognize that, okay, I need to parcelize these things. Okay, if you even if you go and see the parcelization things, you can see there is a no direct Moshi support that, okay, this is the class I need to generate an adapters. So this is something with
Okay,
a Moshi.
but Moshi
Yes,
is
please.
not having a frequent updates and it's been used for marshalling, right? So is it how much safe it would be?
Sorry, Moshi is not. It is been updated frequently. You can see the last commit was 2 weeks ago. So it
Okay, but
depends. I'm
previously
not
I
saying
heard
to
that
use a
there's
Moshi.
an yeah,
I'm
this
not
is not
saying.
getting frequent updates, but and it's used for marshalling, so that's why it's not that much safe to use Moshi library. So that's why I thought
So
of checking that.
okay, so see, yeah, one thing is I'm not suggesting anyone to use a Moshi. This is just something that I prefer. If you want to go with the JSON, you feel free to do so. But the things is, if you are into the Kotlin, and so the JSON is lacking a few of the things that Kotlin does provide, but Moshi has a nice support. And you can see it's a popular as well. It has a 10K stars, and it
Yes.
is, I think, updated frequently in my opinion. So this is just that I prefer Moshi. Okay, if you want to go with the JSON, feel free to do so. And it's not like that nobody is using it. A lot of the companies are using Moshi in a production.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
One doubt, I mean, sorry, I mean,
Yes,
it's a
please.
question to Deepika, basically, like, I mean, so what actually the problem with that, what you told by marshalling?
I'm not exactly sure, but there are few concerns raised to use the Moshi library, but that is because it are used for marshalling and all, and it's not getting frequent updates. So that's where they are asking for us to replace the Moshi library. So that's why I wanted to just get a confirmation.
Okay.
So marshalling and unmarshalling would be with everyone, right? So even if you see the Json marshalling and unmarshalling, for those who are wondering, it's just similar to this serialization, deserialization. So I believe it won't be an issue. Why even a marshalling or unmarshalling a Json is an issue? So do you have any points that that figure out that points out the issues of the JSON marshalling and unmarshalling?
No, currently I'm not having, but I can check and I'll let you update in this group.
Sure. Please do so. So we'll check and we'll verify if there is an issue. But I haven't in my journey, I haven't come across any issues that Moshi has. So okay, cool. Again, it's your choice, but this is something I really prefer to use a Moshi. But you can go with the JSON as well, fine. And
Yeah, that
yes,
is
Sham,
one.
please.
Yeah, so are we covering this Kotlin serialization also, or
No, it's out of the scope, but it is
okay?
there. We are not covering it, but it is there. So again, it's from the official Kotlin team. If you
Okay,
don't
so
want
is
to
it
use,
yeah, if is it
yes,
an
please.
alternative for Moshi?
Yep, it's an alternative for both Moshi and JSON.
Okay.
You
Any
can have
specific,
a
if you want to pick from any of these three, what will be the suggestion? Moshi will be the suggestion or Kotlin serialization?
if I am just building the Android applications, my go-to things would be Moshi because again, JSON is in maintenance mode. I'll reject JSON based on these things. Moshi now remains Moshi and Kotlin X. So Kotlin X is it's a although good on Kotlin, but not a major teams are using the Kotlin X serialization specifically on the Android. So if it's an Android, I would go with the Moshi. If it's a multi-platform project, I would definitely go to the Kotlin X.
Okay,
If I'm
thank you.
building KMM project, then definitely I should go here
Okay,
because again,
thanks.
it's a multi-platform compatible library.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, cool. Thanks. Any question or anything around these things? Okay, then cool.
Uh,
Yes,
I-
please.
yeah, while using the Kotlin, is it good to use Kotlin serialization or JSON? Which one will be good?
Okay. So if you are just building an Android, I would it does not mean whatever I'm saying does not mean one library is less good compared to others, but based on what patterns I have seen, if you are just building an Android application and you want to go either between serialization or JSON, I would suggest to go with the JSON because it is a battle tested library, right? So my suggestion would be to go with the JSON. If it's just an Android application, again, it's a multi-platform, definitely go with the Kotlin X serialization.
Kotlin.
Okay, cool. This is something we have seen. So let's see. I want to show you the UI stat today. So yep, this is something we can do. And now let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Yes, let me show you the UI stats. So what we want to do is in the view model, we want to retrieve a list of the posts. So let's say, well, uh, let me create a stat pair, something like let's call it a post, and the type would be list of the post. Okay, and initial value would be empty list. So we can do something like this, and then we can assign this post dot value equal to whatever the post we are getting, we can assign it, and then we can observe this variable from the UI. Okay, that is something we are doing since long, but today we want to do something different. So let's say networking view model dot get post dot collect. Oh, my bad. Dot post and what's happening? Post and we will collect is as a state. Okay, we are converting basically state flow into a state. And then let's quickly create a UI for the state. So let's say post view, and let's create a composable called a post item. Okay, so what I would do is just like the room DB, I'll just grab the code. We really don't want to waste time on writing the UI code. So we'll create a lazy column, something like this here, and we'll accept the post as a list of the post, and we'll accept the modifier as well. Let's not waste more time and just be here with me for a few minutes. And we'll call the post item here again. The modifier would be there, and each post item would be there. So we'll just pass the post, and we'll pass the post equal to this is what we want to make it post. Cool. And even in the post item, let me just grab it. Grab this sort of a thing. Cool. So we want a post here. So we'll write post dot user ID, then post dot title. We don't even need a row, right? So let's say post dot ID title, and then what else we have available? Body. So let's just print it out. Let's say we are not a good designers. Let's assume, although even though I'm not good designer, but let's assume that I'm not good designer. Cool. So let's create, and let's call these things here, right? So let's not do the get post. Let's initialize these things. Let's pass the modifier equal to modifier dot fill max size, and the post would be again this one. We don't want a button, but somehow we need to trigger these things, right? So let's use a launch effect for the same. We have used it multiple times, so I believe it should be pretty familiar for you. Cool. And this is something we want. Awesome. Let's run this thing. So it should retrieve the items, and it should print them out in a UI. Awesome. This doesn't look good, right? But okay, cool. What we are printing the user ID, it seems. Post dot user ID. Hey, we don't even need this modifier then. These things. Yep. So we are printing the user ID, we are printing the title, and then we are building the body. Let's add some space. So modifier dot height, let's say for DP. And I really don't want to write something like this. So I'll extract it out into a composable function. Let's call it a vertical spacer. And here what I'll do is I'll just get the size as an integer, something like this. I'll write size.dp. So here I'll write a vertical spacer of a 4dp. Okay, this is something you should do in Compose if you are using it multiple times. Let's run it, and let's see how it looks. Cool, fine, right? Not great, but seems okay. So now what we will do, let's use a post ID here, so it would be different thing. Yes. So now what we want to do is, as you will see that, okay, as the posts are getting loaded, there is a no indication that, okay, the posts are loaded, right? As there is no indication that network request is in progress, or whether any success occurred or error occurred, whatever. For example, let's say if I disable the internet, let me disable the internet. So there won't be an internet at all. So let's run these things and let's see what happens. Oh, nothing, right? What happens? Yep, this is due to retrofit. The process ended, but that is something I'll show you later. This is due to the retrofit, but the basic things is we have a no internet. So let's say we have a let's assume we have a slower internet. So you can see there is an, let me see if I can simulate these things. There should be a ways. Cellular, and network type is signal strength. Let's say it's a poor thing. Let me see if I can make it work. No, I think it's not making any changes. Okay, cool, fine. So there is a no loading things, right? Or even if there is any error occurred, there is no ways to figure it out. So what we can do is these things is a pretty common in any applications, right? Any production level application, these things is a pretty common. You need to map your data into some UI state, right? Like whether when the network request is in progress, you need to show a loading progress bar, and when the network is successful, you need to show the actual data that we are showing here. If there is any error, you need to show the errors as well. Okay, so the question is, how do we map this things into the UI? Okay, so let's call these things as a UI state. What we want to do is we want to show a different UI state for a different conditions. So let's create a class or an interface, or let's create a sealed interface called a UI state. And rather instead of this UI state, let's call it a networking screen UI state. So this UI state is specifically for this screen. You can create a generic as well using the generics, but I'm creating specifically for this class. So our UI could be have a 4 state. The one being the initial state or empty state. Okay, when because see in the view model, even if nothing happens, there is no loading success or anything, we need to pass an initial value, right, to our state flow. So this could be a state. So what we can do is we are creating a sealed interface. You can create a sealed class as well, no issues, but we don't really need a class here. So we'll create a sealed interface to restrict the UI state hierarchy. Again, if you have any questions around these things, feel free to ask. So the first state would be an empty state. Okay, so let's create a class called empty, and it will extend the networking screen UI state. Okay, another things could be a loading. So let's say loading, another state would be a loading. And now two things can happen, whether network is successful or fail. If it is success, let's create a UI class for that. Let's say let's create a class called a success for the networking screen, and similar for the error. Okay, let's create a class for the error as well. Now let's refine these things. These 4 states we have created, let's refine them. Empty, we don't need to pass any data, right? Because empty is empty, nothing else. So instead of class, we can create them object. And we are using Kotlin greater than 1.9. It is suggesting me to use a data object. If you don't know, the data object is just like a data class, but let me quickly show you these things. Well, object equal to these things, what not this one, but the things is if you create an object, something like this. Okay, if you create an object, what it will do, and if you try to print it out, something like this print ln empty, if you try to some sort of do something like this, it will print out the memory address, right, or objects hash value in the console. Okay, but if it's a pretty standard object, something like this, okay, it's just a holder. It doesn't need to be anything special. So what this data object was added in Kotlin 9. So what it will do is it will pretty print the object's name. If you do the print out the empty, what it will do on the console, it will print out the empty. Okay, actually the name of the object. So this is what data object does. So let's again, for the loading, we don't need uh, any data. We don't need to pass any data. So we will make them an object and then data object. Success is something different. For the success, we need to pass this data, right? The data is a list of the post. So let's make this success as a data class. So we can pass some data around it. So let's say well data, and this data is a list of the post. And in case of error, we want to show an error message. So we will accept well error message, and the type would be string. Okay, so again, let's make this as a data class because again, it's a holder class. Cool. So these are the UI states that we have created. To display our UIs. Okay, display our UIs. Now what we will do, we will make use of these things. So in the view model, instead of passing the empty list, what we will do, let's refine these things. Let's refine something like this. So now our the type is not the list of the post, but the type is a networking screen UI state. Type is this one. Okay, and the initial value is a empty value or initial value, whatever. So the initial value is a networking UI state dot a empty. This is the things. Okay, now what we will do is when we trigger the request, when we click on these things, what we will do, the first things we will do when we launch the request, we will assign a loading value to this variable. Okay, because it takes this sealed interface called a networking UI state. So we will tell these things that okay, we have started the loading. So we will do something like post dot value equal to networking screen UI state dot a loading. These things we will observe from the UI. Okay, and now let's do one thing. Let's wrap them inside a try catch. Try catch. Okay, so if the request is successful and there is no exception, what we will do is that means our request was successful. So we will assign this networking UI state dot a success, and we need to pass a data here, right? So we'll need to pass a data. So for the data, what we will pass, we'll pass this post, this one. In case of the error, if there is an error, we will assign the error value. So dot value equal to networking UI state dot error, sorry, error. And for the error, we need to pass error message. So we will use the exception dot a message dot a toString. Okay, whatever the exception is occurring, we will pass these two things. Okay, so the view model part is done. Cool. Now we will see how to actually use them in a compose. Okay, so what we will do is now this is no longer a list of the post, right? It's a networking UI state. So what it is a networking UI state, sorry. So we cannot pass it, right? So what we will do inside the column, let's observe what is the current type of this post and then show it. So let's say, for example, when uh, a post, okay, when the post type is, if it is a loading, if it is a networking UI state dot a loading, if there is any loading is going on, then we want to show some sort of a loading thing. If success is there, if the request is successful, we want to show something else. And in case of the errors, we want to show something like this. Now what remains? Else remain, because when needs to be exhaustive, right? So we'll just write something like this, because else means empty block and we don't want to do anything in this. So this post view, when we will call it, we know in case of a success, we will call it, right? That is fine. What about these two things, errors and loading? So for the loading, let's create a loading indicator. Let's create a box, and inside the box, let's keep the loading indicator. So let's create a new file just here, and let's call it a components. Okay, and we will create a composable functions, and let's call it a loading indicator, something like this. So we'll create a box, why we are creating a box is something be more clear when we use the pagination in compose. I'll show you at that time. Modifier equal to modifier. Let's just pass it something like this. Okay, and inside these things what we want to do is we want to show a circular loading indicator, circular progress bar. Okay, so compose provides by default this composable function called circular progress indicator. That is something you can do it. Let's align it at the center of the box. So modifier dot align alignment dot center. This is something we want. Okay, let's call these things from our UI. So if the loading is happening, what we want to do is we want to show the loading indicator, and let's give it a full size. So modifier dot fill max size. So what will happen is it will create a box, right? So what will happen is this is your device and the box will take the full size. So you will have your box something like this. Inside the box, there will be a circular indicator. Okay, and it is at the center of the box. So it will be in the center of the screen, right? So what you will see is in the device, in the actual UI is us loading indicator is rotating on the center of the device. That is something what we are achieving with these things. When the network request is in progress, okay, when it is success we want to show these things, but you can see we are able to we are seeing some errors, right? So what it says a type mismatch. The required type is a list and we are getting a networking screen. So we need to do an explicit typecasting. So let's convert this post as networking state dot a success, and then we will call the data. This data is a list of a post, right? So now we can pass it. Same for the error. Let's create an error component. So let's say let's create for the error. What we will do is we will show a text with red colors. Okay, so let's call it error item. Let's grab the modifier and let's have something like this. So here we will show a text. And we need to show error message as well, right? So let's say error message would be a string. So we will show alignment would be center, and we will show the text equal to error message. Okay, and we will set the color of the error as a color of the error from the material theme. So material theme dot color scheme dot error. So this would be usually red thing. Okay, so let's call this error item from the screen. Let's call this error item. What it needs a error message. So we need to cast this as an error, and then we need to access the error message. This is what we are essentially doing. So what is happening when this thing starts? We are observing the network state. Okay, as soon as the methods get called, we are emitting the loading state. Okay, so that means we will see a loading indicator for a few seconds or a few milliseconds. If there is any success, we are emitting the success case. So then it will goes here and we will be able to see the list of the items. If there is any error, for example, let's say there is no internet connection, okay, unknown host exception. So in this case, it will show us an error. So let's see these things and have your eyes on the device because I'm not able to simulate. See, loading indicator is there, right? And then it will quickly showing me this error, this success screen. So earlier I will see the loading indicator, see, and then I am able to see these errors. So this is how you map your data into the UI state. Okay, now let me show you this error thing. Let's say retrofit is throwing the error, right? That there is unknown host exception basically. So if I run these things, see, this time my application is not crashing, but what it is says that unable to resolve the host. This is coming from the OkHttp. So what I did is if there is any error, if there is any exception, that means don't crash, but rather map it to the error state. And for each error state, what I'm doing, I'm showing the text in a red color inside a box in the center of the screen. So this is why I'm able to see these things. Let's add some padding so it looks bit good for .dp or let's say 8dp. So now it won't be touched with the screen. Okay, right. So this is how it looks, or you can make it 60 and this should work fine as well. Cool. This is how it looks basically. So this is what we are doing and this is what we are achieving. If we mark the internet as a successful and if we run it, we will see the loading indicator and a success, right? This is how, see, you see the loading indicator. And once there is success, you will be able to see all these things. So this is how basically you map your data with the UI. Okay, so it seems Jaswinder has question. Yes, please.
Here is Jesh. So if we
Hey,
want to
hi.
show some dialogue, then we can same way we can create item here.
Yep, if you want to show some dialogue in case of the loading, then you can show the same thing inside this loading state here.
Okay. And if we don't have suspend keyword in there in API interface.
Yeah, that is something I want to cover, but I think it's too late. So let's keep it tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Because we have to do assignment evaluation as well. So otherwise it would stretch to a very late time. So I'll show you this call, a response, and if we don't have this suspend thing.
Right.
Okay. And as well as let's keep this for as well. I'm yet to explain this okay, HTTP and these interceptors and those things. So probably let's keep it for tomorrow. Okay, cool. Any questions around these things? The last topic was a very important because you will use it in your compose applications as well, mapping the data with the UI states. Okay, any questions around it, or are we good to proceed for the assignment evaluation? Okay, then it seems we are good for the assignment evaluation. Then let's wind up today's session here and let's move on to the assignment thing. So how many folks we have? Do we have Tarun? Yes. And Vivek has submitted the assignments as well. Anyone else? Jaswinder, have you submitted the assignment third?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let's start with the Tarun, right? The youngest mind in the pack. So Tarun, we are good for the assignment evaluation, right? Let me ask him, otherwise he will be like, well, so yep, let's see in the web editor. Why this is taking so much time? Let me meanwhile open other things, Jaswinder's assignments and Vivek's. Vivek, yep, this one. Mm, Jaswinder and Vivek. Cool. So the assignment requirement was to have a file, three screens, the welcome screen, user list screen, and then these things was, yeah, user detail screen. So you had to use a database, navigation, data store, all those things. Let's sync it, man. Cool. So where is this assignment three? It's taking a lot of time, it seems. Okay, we have assignments three ready for the Tarun. Let's go and verify what it does. So in the main, this is application, this is the entry point. So it's showing the app screen and it's showing the view model, live launch effect unit, app view model dot read app entry. I think you had added that things, right? Your graphs, basically, like whatever you have drawn on the papers, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this was a nice man. See, like he has also mentioned the thought process and the design that he went through. So yep, this is nice. Welcome screen, user list screen, and the user detail screen, and these are the VMs that are connected. So okay, so app entry. So you are collecting the entry as a app state. So let's see what these things is. It is inside the VM, right? App entry. So what it does is it read app entry from the if it if already then what you are doing is equal to new. So basically for this you are using a data store if I'm not wrong. App entry manager. Yes. Oh, you are using interface. Awesome. Save entry and app entry manager. Awesome. All right. So suspend function context or data store you are defining here, and then you are creating a preference key. Awesome. This is a really nice way of the writing code, like separating out the things in itself and defining something like this, having some interfaces and a class that implements that interface. This is something I really appreciate, man. Cool. uh Save app entry context and then mapping it to this data store. Cool. And then in the vm, if it these things you can do it. Yep, this is something you can do, or otherwise what you can do, you can directly map this flow into a state flow that we were doing here, right? Using a state in operator, this data store, and inside the VM you can use this where did it went, man? Oh, not the database but the data store. Yes, you can use this stat-in operator function to map the flow directly into stat flow, or you can go with this way as well. Fine. Okay, then what he does, if it is loading, and this probably is an enum. What is it? This loading. Sorry, your voice is not audible. Oh, you created an entry state here. Okay,
Yeah.
loading new and already. Cool. Fine. But this looks ambiguous, right? Like what do you mean by new or already? So what you could do is you could provide a proper name to yep, sorry. So what you could do is you could provide a good name. You are already doing good, but what I'm suggesting is you provide a name, something that is the developers who are reading your code can understand. Cool. Fine. So what then you are based on these things, you are showing a multiple screen, loading screen, welcome screen, and app is already. Then app nav graph, loading screen, app nav graph. Let me just quickly see these things. I am not able to navigate to these things. Mm, where is this
It's
app
actually
name?
inside the navigation folder.
Okay, here. Cool. So you are defining your routes, child class route and route. Awesome. Nav graph and nav controller and then user list, and then you are using a nav controller and passing the arguments type of the user. Cool. So okay, so for the worst, first you are showing the user list screen. What you are doing there, view VM and launchpad get users, and probably dodge blue. Awesome. And small top app bar app title, icons dot field, dodge blue elevation, lazy column, and user. And for the on click, okay, you are hosting the callbacks and then columns and these things. For the detail screen, same, because compose, I know all of you are familiar after completing these assignments, right? So I believe it would be the proper one. Colors are there, columns, user items. For each user items, you are showing the user ID. Cool, 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 cool. For the welcome screen, what you are doing? Yes, let me check this. Generate users, map, do these things, dot save stat entry. Awesome. And then you are using the add users. Cool. And the loading screen. Okay, for the this circular loading progress bar. Cool. Do we really need these things? Loading screen. What was the
Actually,
purpose behind it?
yeah, like basically I kept it for the app entry screen. Sometimes it may take certain time to load, right?
Okay, from the data store.
Yeah, from the data store.
Yep, this is a concern of a lot of people actually that Sometimes my data store loads the items quickly. Sometimes it's take a few milliseconds more. Cool. So loading screen and then new graph. Let's see model user and user generator. Cool. Again, this is just like the same thing. Previous one. DI is there. Awesome. Cool. And then you are using new graph. Why you are passing the whole user to your composable?
Like as I said, like one day I have asked you the doubt, right? Like how we can pass the JSON data to the next screen. So I have used a parse. Like I have just added to a JSON and just passed to the next screen.
Okay. So let me show you the user repository. So you are getting the users as well. Where is this function to get the single user from the DB?
Yeah, that's what I did. What I did is that instead of, so actually that would make another call to the database. So what I did was in the user list screen itself, it will get all the users, and on clicking the user, it will pass that user data to the next screen as argument, so that we can reduce and single operation for calling the database.
Right. But assume this way, see what happens is your concern is legit. Fine. This way you can reduce the database call. But this comes with some sort of a debt. Okay, let's assume that you are passing some sort of a, let's consider an example of the Instagram user profile. So in a user profile, there is only single screen, and on that screen you want to retrieve the user's profile based on the user ID. Okay, so if you just pass the user things directly here and you are passing it here, then you are not letting the actual screen, that is user profile screen, to decide what to do. Okay, you are just passing the whole user. Rather, the good practice is this, and what even Google suggests is, again, I think I had mentioned in the navigation thing, but the things is do not pass the whole thing, to your navigation destinations. Rather, pass any unique key that can uniquely identify the value, and then on the next screen retrieve the data based on that value. So in our case, user ID is a unique key, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So what
yeah.
you can do, you can pass a user ID instead of the whole thing, and then on the user detail screen you can retrieve the single user from the database.
Okay.
Okay, that could be a good thing.
Got it. Got it. Actually, it's actually a simple use case. So I just went with now arguments itself. If it was like working with like large amount of data,
Fine,
then
fine.
I would have actually passed the ID and then performed another ID based operation
DB
to.
operation. Okay, okay. Yep, cool. Fine, that is fine. Cool, then I think it is entry and the VM. Did I miss anything? No, right? Cool, then all the most things I have seen, and yep, it looks awesome. Assignment is perfectly done. Thanks, Tarun.
I have video also. Yeah.
Yeah, video is there. I had seen this video when I was where it is. Yeah, here. This one. Yeah, I have already seen this. Awesome. You add users, so users are added, and then you are using these things. Okay, users are added, and you are navigating to there, and the delete users to delete and go back.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Yep. So it seems you are using an MI phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the off-topic question is why you are using this third-party recorder, because you will already have an inbuilt screen recorder in the MI.
Yeah, but actually, I am actually more content with Mobizen because I used to use that recorder for a long time. So I just went with Mobizen.
Okay, cool. So let me check out one particular case in the user details. And when you delete the user, let me see what you are doing. Okay, delete the user and then you are popping the backstack. Cool. Okay, cool. Thanks, Tarun. Yeah, it was awesome. Next, see who is there. Jaswinder and Vivek. So whose assignments is this? Jaswinder, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Rajesh.
Mm, let's go and check it out. Main Java app navigation, and this you are retrieving the view model here. Okay, using this activity and surface. Uh, uh, oh my God, you are doing a very bad thing, man.
I know. Actually, I just wanted to check we have data inside there already. Then that's
Okay,
what.
but
I,
even if you want to do it, you can wrap them inside the launch effect, right?
yeah. Actually, I didn't
Uh,
understand that launch effect. I need to read that.
okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. But don't do these things in your compose applications. Otherwise, your managers will come and say why the application is lagging.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So, okay, so let's see your database FDB is an entity. User DAO, and where is this user? Okay, user, and this is again user DAO get user. You are retrieving the get users. Okay, suspend delete record insert user list and insert. Then this is a DB repo. Okay, this is a VM. So it contains a user insert record, and this is app navigation nav controller. Welcome screen, user list screen. Then you are showing this one, and then you are your compose your okay. So you are passing a root as a dynamic value. Okay, cool. So let's see app navigation. Then you are passing a root as a dynamic value, and then what you are doing is your database view model dot get user. So get the user. So you can or you could even call this from the VM init method, right? View models init method, and then
But
decide. Yes, please.
we were starting from here, so I thought I should made a check here
Okay.
because we were launching, yeah, first screen from here.
No. What I'm saying is this in init thing, because what your concern is you want to retrieve the users,
Yeah,
right?
I just wanted
You
to check
want
we have database.
retrieve the user. Okay. So this user retrieval will only occur when this function is getting called. So that's what I'm saying. When you are in initializing this VM
Mm-hmm.
in the init block, something like this, call this function, this one.
This will first, yeah.
Yep. So if you just call these functions, this will get called and you will get this value assigned. So here you don't need these
Because
things.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And one good things about the database, or one standard practice that I could say, is don't retrieve the unnecessary data. Here what you need, you just need the user size. Okay, and then what you are retrieving, you are retrieving the whole list of the users. It's a wastage of the resource. So construct your queries in a way where it is, where is the DAO? Yes, construct your queries in a way that only returns the data that you need. Okay, for example, select count star. This will give you how many records are there. So what you could do is you could just return an integer for these functions, and then you created a separate function to return a flow of the list of the users. So only retrieve the data that you need. It will save us a resources and query will be faster.
Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Okay, cool. Then you are moving to the app navigation with the dynamic value. Okay, welcome, or either this one, and you inside the, where are the views? Yes, user list screen. Context scaffold. Again, if you use a scaffold, you don't need this surface here.
Yeah.
Okay, top app bar, material theme, dot action item content color. Do you, this is just for your own modification? I think it's not
Yeah, yeah,
required
yeah.
for the assignments.
No, this is
Awesome,
just in the colors.
awesome. Why there is a back button on the user detail screen? It shouldn't be there.
Because we added the navigation icon, I mean back navigation icon.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be on the user detail screen, because if the users are already added, there should be no way that users can go back. This is your home screen. Okay, if users are not added.
This is the user detail, third screen. This is the third screen.
Okay, my bad. Sorry,
This comes
my bad.
after the, yeah.
Yep, my bad. Sorry. Cool. Then max and user list by remember, collecting the data, and a lazy column. Again, not properly formatted. So please make sure it's properly formatted. So it would be easier to use. JSON string dot to JSON string. What this
Yeah, I
thing
did the
does?
same thing as Tarun did. I just converted to the string, then
Okay. So
to
you are
the
passing the whole things to
I,
navigation.
right.
Uh, okay. Cool. But yeah, again, same things for you. Try to use
I
ID as.
understand we can just pass the ID and get the data.
Yep, sure. Show toast. And then, okay. So you click on this user item view. This is good. And then is details. Uh, and there is a button selected item. Okay, you are retrieving again. Very
Yeah.
wrong thing. You are doing the things on a compose land, right? Make sure you do in effects, launch effects or disposable, whatever needs. So you will need a launch effect here.
Okay.
Okay. Don't
Yeah.
don't don't do this sort of operation in a compose land.
Right.
There is button to delete the users and popping up the backstep. Cool. Then it is fine and awesome. And I think otherwise everything is working. Okay, user list. Cool. I think it's good. Thank you, Jaswinder. Yep.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Rajesh.
Awesome. So who is the last one? Vivek. Vivek, sorry man, it's been very late for your assignments. Cool. You still there, Vivek?
Yes.
Yep, awesome. So let's see on the assignments. Week 1, what you did is from the main activity, you are calling the counter screen. Oh, you did it in a compose. So this is for the assignment 1. So let's say surface and the lifecycle owner dot current and then counter. Okay, then lifecycle aware effect. You are doing it here. Where did you? I think in a component, right? Probably. Yep, disposable, and then you are creating observer. On stop, on resume, on pause, else, on destroyed, and you don't need these things. I think this is for your own understanding, right? But for the assignments, you don't need this whole lot of
Yeah.
things.
I just made it a generic way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So okay, lifecycle dot even on stop. You are calling the on stop function, and in the on stop, what you are passing, you are marking your counter as a 0. So counter is inside this. Awesome, cool. Yeah, it will do the things. Thanks. Let's quickly see the second one. Main uh, main activity and compose assignments, user list screen. It should be inside here. Yes, user list. So you are having a scaffold, then clicking on the users, user list at apputils. Let's see what this apputils does. Where these things is inside the utility package. Is there any utility? Oh, no. Okay, this is user.
Utils class, utils package.
Okay, cool. So inside the utils, yeah, it is there. Cool. So generate users. So you are generating a sequence, random.next long, generate random user. Yep, you are having the alphabet and string, and you are using a string builder. That is fine. Cool. So yeah, this is something you can do it, or in a Kotlin you can just as we discussed, right? You can just have a list something like this using the range operator. So you can do something like this, a and then plus, and basically these things. In a Kotlin you could do something like this as well, and you can then add 0 to 9. So you don't need to write all these things manually. I'm just commenting out. So you are using a string builder and then you are appending. Awesome. Yeah, string build. You are creating for the 9 things. So yep, string builder would be a good approach because it will just use the same object. Cool. And first name, a list of this one, random, last name. Yep, awesome. And generate email. Again, these things cool. So in the user list screen, what you are doing is inside the lazy, you are getting the users, but again, it's an issue in same issue that just in their head, right? This operation is happening on the compose land. Make sure you do not do it in the compose land. Use a launch effect to get the users. Okay.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Because awesome, because otherwise it will execute it on every recomposition. Cool. And inside the lazy column in item index, then you have a user card. Where is this user card? Yep, here component. Modifier index card column on item click and horizontal username name and text. And what is this circular? Oh, this okay, that one. Number text, and then you are passing your circular text equal to index dot strusing. So probably you would be passing index this one.
Yes.
So this will start the index from 0, right?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Right. So okay, cool. So it was supposed to be index plus 1. So you can internally we use the 0 index, but as a UI we use a, a 1 index thing.
Got
Cool.
it. Got it.
Cool then, awesome. It's a good things. Nice man. You did completed as well. Okay, awesome. Only 2 was there, right? 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Week 3, I'll just upload.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, thanks, Vivek as well.
Okay.
Uh, cool then. Anyone else or any questions around anything? Or are we just good to wind up the session? You can see third assignment is pending, will complete soon. Awesome. Cool. Thanks. Yep. Thanks everyone then. Have a good night. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Good night.
Yeah, yes, bye.